Hello everyone out there, this is Grembo from Emotionless Crypto Trading, and here we go with another video on my YouTube channel talking about Bitcoin, right? So early October, we gotta get out and restructure this YouTube channel, make a lot more videos and create more content which should be useful for the market, right? So today we're going to talk about Bitcoin, and I do believe we have a couple of data which I want to consider important because the language of the market is translated that way. Therefore, we're going to discuss about that as well as a few insights of the space which should be considered for this month in 2019. Right, so market cap 219 billion, nothing special. It's same over the last few weeks, around the same range. 24 hours volume is right there, 13.3 billion, nothing special. BTC dominance 51.6. There's something because it used to be 55, 56, 57%, and we had some odds increasing parabolically based on their milestones achieved and news gathered around the market, right? So the media helped and adjusted those prices, in my opinion. Going towards, because technical analysis is more than useful. Here we go. This is our current situation. What you're looking at is the technical analysis for 3-hour candlestick between Bitcoin and US dollar for Bitfinex exchange. TradingView.com is the website you can do this type of technical analysis, right? And our situation is located right here on the right side, basically. That's where we are, $6,545 for a BTC. We're looking at a 3-hour candlestick, which means a pretty zoomed out position until August, early August, right? So great. That means in our case to take a look at the most important zones that we have, which are outlining the current structure. Now, the zones we're talking about is the 6,850 resistance zone, right? This comes from previous history. We did have movement over there, such as over here as well, and it supported us because we all used to know that whenever the market is trading above a structure, it needs to support. When it's trading below the structure, it needs to react as a resistance, right? So here it's acting accordingly. Then going towards, we have movement reacting over there as well. And for the last days during what was that, September, we have movement and another reaction confirming on the 6,850 bucks resistance zone as well. So that's kind of neat, that's kind of clear. That's our top of the structure we're moving in. Because if we would like to put it in the regular way, we're going to see we are in a sideways movement since, what was that? That's kind of early August, right? So take a look at this rectangle. That's rectangle number 1. And here's rectangle number 2. Right, so we have these two rectangles with a little movement between them, which is this one right here. Now this little movement could be considered as a false breakout of a long-term structure of sideways movement, right? So we could put it that way if we want to consider a long-term movement. This false breakout, which I like to call it, is pretty much represented on a breakout of the 6,850 bucks zone right here. It broke above, came down the way, supported us, which transformed to be pretty bullish. Whenever you see that kind of thing, to break above, come back to retest and confirm on the support side, which means a bullish signal. From there, the market had the ability to go up till 7,400, which means the next resistance line. Attention, this line has previous confirmations as well, and it reacted exactly on the line basically, which is another proof how technical analysis is working and how accurate it is, right? So from there we have a movement which is out of the crazy stories. Just look at that crash. I'm just gonna call that crash because that's what it is. It's not a correction, it's a crash which has no data that backs it up, unless you don't want to see the real manipulation behind the market, which is very clear for all of us, as long as we want to see the realistic side of the things, right? So that's right there, manipulation of the market. It has been triggered at a time, and that's kind of the only data you have behind it. Whatever someone tells you around the news or anything such, exactly at that time on that date, there was nothing that could have triggered it that way, that powerfully. Considering right here, you had a bullish pattern. They didn't care about that bullish pattern. They just, allowed you to increase. What was that? Let's just measure with this little tool. We're going to measure the increase. It was 7%, which is, not bad for a swing trade. You can make 500%, 300% on leverage out of that. There's no issue at all, in my opinion. Any type of percentage can be increased by doing leverage trading if you want to do that. So I'm not angry with little increases in the market because I know I can make more out of those, right? So 7% realistically, which is not bad at all in a bearish environment. Totally speaking, it was a bearish environment with a bullish signal right here, which just gave you 7%, right? So we had that clearly right there. Then the market crashed back. It was a very, very aggressive crash for the entire space, not only the BTC. And it put you back in the irregular structure. Then the sideways movement just happened to be like that. More confirmations at the bottom, which is the $6,000 support zone. This one right here, this blue line is the $6,000 support zone. Has a few confirmations, like I said it. Then on top we have the 6,850 resistance zone, a few confirmations. So that means we're kind of between these two zones where we're moving on a sideways power. Volatility is existent, which is good for active traders. I like that. I've pretty much enjoyed it the last weeks because I had the ability to trade the market out of it, right? So I was able to do a lot of movements in the last weeks due to the high volatility, which is necessary. And that's also another thing why I love trading cryptos, because of high volatility. I need that, and I'm having that high volatility more with the altcoins, not with the Bitcoin. Good. Let me just show you, because right here where the price is sitting right now, I'm going to zoom in a little bit, right? You see we have a blue line, basically, exactly. We have an horizontal blue line, exactly where the price is sitting right now, right? So this horizontal blue line, which you can see right now, is kind of sitting in the middle as a distance between our two, should I say, limits of the zones, right? So we have the resistance zone and the support zone. The line is sitting kind of at the middle. Now, that's basically a line which used to represent important price points such as resistance or supports. If we look back, if we just have to look left, which is the way the technical analysis works, look left, it leaves tracks. That's the way it used to be said, right? So take a look at that. Confirmation, 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 boom, boom. There you go, there you go. A lot of confirmations on the resistance side whenever the market was trading below it. And then you have support, support. That's basically what happens, as well as this one, which could be considered another confirmation on the resistance side over there. So this line is 6,545, around that, 6,550. I would consider for the current structure the most important price point. What happens if you fall below that? It might react as a resistance, and then there is a high possibility to retest the $6,000 support zone, which is located right here. That's what it is. That's the way it's reacting. Let's take a look at the market environment. We're about, and we did try to break below the $6,550 line, and for the first time it kind of failed. Just take a look at that long wick of the candlestick, which means that the whales rejected a continuous price decrease. On the other side, I'm very curious to see what's going to happen for the next days, right? I do believe that we need at least 3 to 4 days from right now, so I would say until 5th or 6th of October, to see the exact direction of the movement, right? Which could be categorized above 6,550 or below 6,550. This is what matters. This is what we got to consider around at this time. This is what you would have to know for your training. On the other side, talking about the news, right? So I did say we're going to say a few things around the news. The fundamental news flow in 2018 has been positive, and it's the same for October. We did started the month and we had some great news coming out. Now, the only theory as of now is that the market is not really responding to all this great news. The reaction is missing from the prices, right? And that's another proof that prices are not strictly related to the development of the blockchain, right? It's nowhere near to have a strict relation with the trading area. And this is another proof. Although there's many proofs which are saying that even the fundamentals of the tradings are mentioning that. On the other side, we do have amazing news around the countries. Ukraine is preparing and is about to discuss a potential zero tax percentage up to 2030, which is 2030, right? For cryptocurrency users, blockchain projects, traders, whatever in that country, they want to put it at 0% tax. Currently, this thing is just at the discussion level, but they do have a very positive response so far, and maybe in the future that's gonna be approved, right? Another thing is around the United Nations General Assembly, which had a meeting, and Malta's Prime Minister mentioned that cryptocurrency has the ability and the blockchain to solve a lot of the problems. Therefore, he believes that crypto could be the money of the future, right? So, could be money of the future. This is basically what he wanted to mention. Although Malta is a blockchain island, and they did wanted to see the great parts of the cryptocurrencies and blockchain. So this is how they focused on approving and regulating all the rules around the country. Therefore, we can see the comparison with other nations which are not that open around the cryptocurrencies and the blockchain area, considering the regulations, right? So you can see how some nations are advancing, especially with this flexibility and kindness that's kind of backed up by the seriousness and potential of this industry. It's not just because they enjoy the name of blockchain or anything such. It's pretty much backed up by real values of this space, and that's why some nations are very flexible on their regulations with a cryptocurrency. And it's been like that forever. I mean, in whatever kind of things, revolutionary things we're discussing about, some nations are going with it, the others are just seeing the problems, and they keep mentioning at every single assembly or discussion or whatever is out there, meeting, they keep mentioning those problems instead of looking at the advantages that system could bring to their position, right? So that's what it is. October should be a month where we gotta get some positive, stable movement within the market if we don't crash below $6,000 support zone, which is this one right here. If you don't crash below that, if you crash below that, then difficult times again, because the market cap is going to be below 200 billion, and then everyone is going to get under panic again. Although we did have a market cap 2 times below 200 billion when there was a very high pressure in purchasing cryptocurrencies, right? So below 200 billion, I've seen a bunch of people buying cryptos, buying, which is a good proof, and just not a detail, which means a lot for the ones which are already invested and are waiting for better days, right? So you can see that this thing is not just surviving with the customers and supporters and people which are already in the space. This industry is not at the level of surviving. This industry is at the level of finding its speed of increase, right? Finding a stable stage of increase. We're not discussing here around surviving. The ones selling BTC at a $0 or Ethereum at $1, they're just joking and looking for attention, right? So I'm just gonna say it nicely. I'm not gonna use other words. But the idea is a lot of the people here just throw out predictions which are not backed up by anything, and they're looking for attention because that's what they are needing. That's all, basically. That's all for today. Thank you so much for watching. Feel free to look at the subscribe button right there below this video. You can look at that, you can click on it. It's not gonna bite you. You can click on it, and feel free to click the bell next to the subscribe button. That way you're not gonna miss any of my notification or videos, because YouTube is gonna send you a notification whenever I'm posting. We've got a lot of the videos here on the channel. You can take a look at that. Feel free to share your opinion. There is no censorship here. Put your opinion down in the comments area. Like, share, dislike. Do whatever you feel you have to do, because that's the freedom we're talking about in 2018, as long as you do it as you believe, right? So thank you so much, and I talk to you soon.